Hello and welcome to Groove, Sing, and All the Things. I'm your host, Amy Hailstone. Today I want to ask you, are you learning to sing or play? And I want to tell you, be careful who you learn from. Again, I'm Amy from Amy Hailstone Studios. I've been a guitar teacher for over 30 years, and I've been a vocal and performance coach for nearly a decade. I love to teach my students to sing and play with less tension and more freedom. So let's jump into the episode. Be careful who you learn from. I don't mean that to sound so ominous, but I am very serious about it. There are no shortage of teachers or courses to learn from these days, and like anything else, most are great, some are not. I've talked about in previous vlogs about the vibe. If you get a good vibe from a teacher, that's a great sign. If you don't, well, walk away. You'll immediately find someone else to learn from who uplifts you. It's a totally different experience. I think the number one sign that you're with a good teacher or coach for you is that, or if, you feel better, happier, more uplifted when you leave your lesson than when you got there. So some people just have those positive vibes that seem to get absorbed by those around them. I know my teachers certainly did that for me, and that's what I strive to do for my students as well. And I personally sense a red flag if someone online is talking about a hack or a shortcut. That's not my vibe. I want to learn everything. I'm not interested in hacks, but I digress. That's not what I'm talking about right now. And I've been blessed throughout my music career to have learned from wonderful coaches and teachers and mentors, and I'm very lucky in that regard. I've been in a few class situations, however, where I didn't vibe with that teacher at all. That's a little bit what I'm going to talk to you about today. I really want to share a couple stories to help you, if you're ever in these situations, to know that you don't have to stay. Just leave, walk away, and find somebody else to learn from that's going to uplift you and not steal your energy and not make you feel bad about yourself. And I remember my very first private vocal lesson I had with a staff vocal coach at the music school I attended. Well, this music school was particularly geared to guitarists. This guy was not really a major player in the school, but he was the vocal coach or the vocal teacher. And so I had a private lesson with him. That was my first formal voice lesson. So I was assigned to this vocal teacher. He was the only vocal teacher at the school at the time, and we were not a match. He had a very lazy vibe, teaching sort of classical geared stuff, where I'm more of a rock and pop singer. It was not a good match. This is what I thought voice lessons were like. So it was a few years before I got another voice lesson. I was just mainly, studying guitar at the time, and I was a self-taught singer. So in the meantime, I continued to be a self-taught singer, racking up a laundry list of bad habits and unhealthy habits along the way. So I'm going to tell you about a couple of unproductive, boring, even nightmarish class situations that I've been in. Really, two of these situations are not really about playing music, but about music business. When you're a musician, you have to do a lot of things. You have to wear a lot of hats. One particular class I was in, again, was about the music business, and you meet weekly on Zoom, okay? Another thing I don't like about a lot of these classes, and I've been in several courses, because I enjoy learning online and I enjoy learning new things. I'm a perpetual student, so I like to learn things. So I'm in this class, but what I don't like is I don't like Facebook pages or Facebook groups. I know that's part of what a lot of these classes do. It's part of the experience. It's not something that I enjoy. So I'm not a participant in that part of the class, but there's always a curriculum. Well, honestly, in a couple of these music business classes I was in, there really wasn't a curriculum. There were weekly Zooms and sometimes different speakers, we're talking about a certain thing this week. We're going to learn about publishing or whatnot, okay? This particular class I was in, it was in 2021, summer 2021. I showed up, I missed a couple of the classes because my dog, my little baby girl, was sick. She was sick in the hospital. She was in the hospital for like 5 days. At the same time, my dad was in the hospital, and he was ultimately diagnosed with lymphoma. So I had a lot of stuff going on mentally, and I was really exhausted mentally, and those things in my life are very important to me, and more important than music or a music class I was in, okay? So I showed up to the Zoom. It was a small group, and I said, they're asking, how's everybody doing? I said, well, I've missed a couple classes. I'll go back and watch. I said, I don't have the assignment done. I've had some things going on in my family. My dog is really sick, and that's what my life has been revolving around. And the guest speaker that week went on to say pointed me out in front of the class, how very unprofessional that was, that they showed up at the studio 2 hours after their mother's funeral. And there was a couple more examples I think they gave about showing up no matter what is going on in their private life and stuff, and just showing up to the studio, writing songs, getting placements, whatever. So that happened in 2021. And I'm a grown-ass woman, and I should have spoke the hell up and said, listen, no, that is not important to me. The other things I've been dealing with are important to me. I kick myself whenever I think of this situation. And the host of the class did not even stand up for me. They were just going, yeah, And I should have turned that Zoom, said, fuck you, turned the Zoom off, and maybe never went back, because this isn't how you treat people. But anyway, that's their life. You could tell that this person accusing me of being unprofessional had absolutely kind of a miserable, I don't know, they might be the happiest fucking person ever, but I got just kind of a vibe like, you're sad, aren't you? Can't imagine why, but anyway, what else do I want to tell you about? That obviously upsets me just thinking about it to this day, because I wish I would have stood up for myself. I don't really care what these people think about me, but the fact that I'm a student in your class and you're not even empathetic to what's going on in my life, again, that's not the vibe. People in my classes, which I want to have classes soon, I want to have group classes because I think they are so important. Even though I was old enough to know better, I let them talk to me that way. And if that would have happened just even a few months after that, I would have said a big F you. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm going to tell you about another class I was in. I think I was in a blues class, and they had a guest teacher. They were a local blues singer. I guess been around for years. I'd never really heard of them, but whatever. So everybody sang a song, and we were supposed to get feedback, really good feedback, help us be better blues singers, right? We're looking to you as a mentor today. We are your students, and we need your guidance and support. So, nonetheless, this person was not in fact supportive. I don't think to anybody. But to me, I was at that vulnerable place in my learning where I was really nervous and vulnerable all the time because I didn't yet trust my artist voice. And I sang my song. Again, I'm vulnerable. And I'm feeling pretty good, like I did okay. And this person proceeds to go, I don't know. That needs some sweetening. Oh, okay. Do you have any more? I'm thinking to myself, do you have any more feedback, or are you going to teach me how to give it some sweetening? But I didn't get that. I just got more. You didn't sound good. You didn't do good. Which, honestly, I know I sounded pretty good. But I'm sure I did need some sweetening. But I certainly didn't get a lesson from that person. It's not, again, you got to make that decision. Is this worth taking abuse for? At first you feel like, okay, yeah, I guess I got to suffer for my art. I got to learn. You know what? No. Because I've had teachers that I learned so much. I learned everything I know today to teach you because they were patient with me and they supported, loved on me, showed me the right way to do. Yes, it took time. This stuff does. And again, I really feel like the internet doesn't really give us that feeling of how much time this stuff does take. But anyway, I just want to encourage you to keep learning. Find a class. Again, I want to do classes really soon in the future. Group classes where people sing for each other and we give feedback to each other. And in that process, you learn from everybody and you support everybody and you recognize the small wins and you keep showing up. And most of the time, I kept showing up no matter what the situation. I probably did finish that damn blues class, but damn. Looking back, again, I'd be like, no, I'm not going back there. Why would I? Okay, I'm getting off my soapbox. I just want to tell you there's no perfect teacher, there's no perfect class, but you can find one that's a really good fit and that you feel like, man, this is good. I'm learning a lot. And I feel like I can be myself in front of these people. And I feel like they're going to be honest with me and they're going to lift me up. Because learning to sing and learning to play and be a musician in general, songwriter, whatever, it is no fucking joke. But we keep showing up because we love it, because we have to. So that's all I have for you today. Reach out, join a class, get a teacher, get out there, get in front of people. Learning online is great, but it can only take you so far. And I'm telling you that as an online teacher. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Speaking of all this online learning and classes, etc., I do have an exclusive video for the singers and guitar players. For the singers, I have one called 3 Secrets and Exercises, an introduction to finding more freedom and less tension in your singing. And you can access that video very easily. Just go to amyhailstone.com/3secrets. And for the guitar players, I've got one called 5 Things Every New Guitar Player Needs to Know. So if you've been playing for a little while, you're brand new, you're intermediate, so go ahead and access that video at amyhailstone.com/5things. Thanks so much for joining me today on the podcast. If you're watching me on YouTube today and you got some value out of the episode, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. I'd love to have you on the channel. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify podcast, please follow the show. Give us a review. That would mean the world to us. Leave us a comment below if you've had some nightmare situations in some different classes with different teachers. In the meantime, thanks so much for joining me on the podcast. Groove, singing, all the things, and we'll see you in the next episode.